Okay, well, hello everyone. My name is Erica Coghill and I'm with Stilly Valley Health Connections. Thank you so much for joining us for this month's budget-friendly series topic, which happens to be starting with starches. For those of you joining us live today, please note that this class is set up in a Zoom webinar format. That means all of our participants are muted and your video screens are turned off, so we can't see or hear you. But we want to hear from you. So if you could please leave any comments or questions in either the chat or the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen. Katie's going to pause here and there, and I'll make sure she knows them and can answer or at least respond to those chats. And if you're watching a recording, which we're also doing right now, and have questions, we want to hear from you too. So if you do have questions or comments, you can always send them to us at info@stillyvalleyhealth.org. Now I will pass the presentation over to Katie Shepard. She's a registered dietitian nutritionist with Sound Dietitians, and she's going to be doing the presentation for this topic. And we hope you enjoy this program. So I'm really looking forward to hearing from it too, Katie. So it's all yours.
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm so excited to be here. So much to be grateful for, including our amazing host and sponsor, Stilly Valley Health Connections, and also grateful for the founder, Megan Ellison's visiting family members. So I have the opportunity to present to all of you today about starches. So very excited for that. And yeah, if y'all have any questions, or comments throughout, I definitely want to have some interaction in the Q&A throughout. So let's get started. Um, so some of the things that we're going to be going over today is just identifying starches. So what foods contain starch? What are the more heavy starch containing foods? We talk about some starches in blue zones, what those are, the anatomy of whole grains, nutritional components of starch, and then really focusing on just how to build out those balanced meals, and how to talk about some budget friendly recipe ideas, of course, that you will have access to as well. And we're going to send links and some handout PDFs. So, what are starchy foods? I actually really want to open up with the Q&A in here. Um, what foods do you heavily correlate with starch? Like, I want to know, for instance, when I first thought of like starchy foods, my go-to like thought was croissants, very starch heavy. So I want to know like what foods you think of when you think starch. I know we have some pictures here, so dead giveaway, but I want to know, yeah, what are some like some starchy foods that y'all think of? Give it a minute in the chat. And can't really see the chat. They just let me know.
I don't know if you can't see it, Katie, but we've got bread, potatoes, and chips.
Bread, potatoes, chips. Yes, these are all great examples. Um, Definitely starchy foods. Some other starchy foods. Starch actually is in vegetables and fruits. We got very starch heavy fruit, be bananas, and plantains. We can also talk about legumes. Legumes are definitely filled with starch. So it's going to be like beans, peas, lentils. Those are going to be some examples of some other starchy foods. But those are great examples. Um, so I personally think starches sometimes get a bad rap because when we think of like starchy foods, we're mostly thinking of, those white breads, chips, and everything. Um, But starches can definitely be incorporated in a well-balanced, healthy diet, and a good example or a strong example of this is in the 5 blue zones, they use a lot of starch. So the blue zones, if you don't know, are regions that are known for exceptionally long and healthy lives. So there's a good amount of centenarians that live in these blue zones. So the people that are living like past the age of 100, just a lot of people all in one area, which is wild to think about. These blue zones can be found in Okinawa, Japan, in Italy, Greece, in Costa Rica, and one found in California. So, an example of a starch is in Okinawa. Historically, the purple sweet potato was used in up to like 60% of their diet. Like they used to cook with so much purple sweet potatoes. Just a great example of a nutrient dense starch. Another example is rice in Japan. Rice and beans also used in many Latin American cuisines. Um, just just really great examples of like all starches fit and many different kinds of starch can be used in a well balanced diet. There we go. Just want to make sure I didn't skip one. Um, so let's talk about the anatomy of whole grains because a lot of uh, a lot of grains contain a good amount of starch. So we're going to talk about whole grains versus refined grains. So basically, in like white breads, white pastas, those refined grains um, are whole grains that were processed down and milled down to remove the bran and the germ part of the whole grain. So all refined grains at some point in their life were whole grains. The bran part is the outer layer of the whole grain. It's rich in fiber. It contains a lot of B vitamins and minerals. The germ is the core, also containing B vitamins. It has some heart healthy fats in it and some vitamin E. So when you take these away, you're left with the endosperm, the starchy carbohydrate, which also contains some proteins and vitamins. So some sources of whole grains going to be some oats, quinoa, brown rice, barley, millet. Uh, Refined grains are going to be like the white breads, refined pastas, white rice. Both definitely have their place in the diet and kind of mixing and matching and using both can definitely be incorporated into a balanced diet. Um, some benefits of using whole grains or refined grains is getting that fiber in, getting some more B vitamins and minerals. And also, I think the mouthfeel of whole grains sometimes is preferable over refined grains. And if you want to know about a few different whole grains and how to use them in your diet and maybe some recipe examples, you can also check out our 5 whole grains to keep your family healthy blog on the SD website. And you can also include a link to that after this presentation as well. How are we doing on the Q&A?
Good. I don't see any questions yet.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. If y'all do have any questions, please definitely drop those in there, and we'll try to answer them in the presentation. So some nutritional components of starchy foods. These starchy foods are definitely energy dense, right? So they contain a good amount of carbohydrates, and depending on the starchy food, can also contain a good amount of fiber, like we talked about, like oats and millet, farro, quinoa. Those are gonna be a little bit higher in fiber. Uh, Starchy foods also contain vitamins and minerals, calcium, some B vitamins. They also contain phytonutrients and some small amounts of protein and fat. So choosing some of your starchy foods and how to include them in your plate. If we've so we pick some of our starchy foods, So how much of it are we going to use? So when building your plate, it's a good rule of thumb just to kind of aim for around 1/4 to about a third of your plate with starches. And this may depend on your various needs. And this can depend like based on uh, different factors like your activity level. So if you're being more active throughout the day and you're burning a lot of energy and you need those more energy dense foods, then you're gonna want to have more closer to like a third of your plate of starchy foods. And as always, balance them out with some protein, vegetables, heart healthy fats. This is a good like overall like very general plate breakdown. um, but also incorporating, healthy fats, some dairy, your beverage options, this and that. So with having a variety, like we talked about before, of different foods on your plate and getting that balance in, we also want to expand on your color palette. So you can talk about like different colors of, for instance, potatoes. So there's red potatoes, the sweet potatoes that got that vibrant orange color, purple potatoes, gold potatoes, all different types of these. And like having different colors in your diet is very important because the different colors have different unique nutrients, right? And for instance, the purple potatoes are very antioxidant heavy. They have anthocyanins, um, which is very good for like anti-inflammatory needs, and it has like great antioxidant uh, properties. Sweet potatoes have a fair amount of beta carotene that gives them that like orange color, which beta carotene can be converted to vitamin A in your body. So that really helps you meet those vitamin A needs. And so you don't have to keep in mind all of these different all of these different nutrients and antioxidants and colors. Just going for an array of colors in your diet on a daily or weekly basis is a good way to think about it because then you can just incorporate all those nutrients and um, have the best chance of covering all your bases when it comes to um, getting all the different colors of the rainbow in your diet. So a good example of a well balanced meal can be a loaded potato bar. So this is a really, really cool idea for Megan. And she sent me this photo uh, of when she made these, and I was like, these are some new potato baked potato inclusions. So you got your starch base. You use like the classic baked potato, russet potato. You can also use a sweet potato for your loaded potato bar. You've got some different options, right? The white potatoes tend to have a little more potassium in them compared to sweet potatoes. And sweet potatoes, like mentioned before, has beta carotene and also tend to, sweet potatoes also have a slightly lower glycemic index than white potatoes. We've got some and we have some vegetable options. You can add on some cooked broccoli, some sautéed peppers, onions, and mushrooms. You can cook all those together or, separate them out. I know, for instance, if I was doing this for my family, like my dad, who's an extremely picky eater, would really, really appreciate um, being able to just pick pick the different things that he wants. So there's kind of something in it for everyone. Um, Also really great for families. Then you can pick your protein. We've got like you do like black beans, rotisserie chicken, turkey, and then some additional toppings. Black olives would be a great heart healthy fat option, and cheese because what is a loaded potato without cheese? Um, and then if you have any other favorites, I would love to know. You can drop that in the chat or the Q&A. What are some other, like, favorite loaded potato staples? Maybe not staples, like, less traditional baked potato additions we can add to this. Would anyone put tofu in a loaded potato? I wanna know.
I don't see anything in Q&A. Oh, here we go. Corn and chili.
Corn and chili.
Oh, sunflower seed.
Wow,
That's
yum.
good. That's another one.
Sunflower seeds in a loaded oh, that's awesome. We're adding that in there. I love the loaded chili.
Oh,
That sounds very Southern.
salsa. Turn it into, give it a little spice.
Oh, I love this. I'm from Texas, so these are all great, yeah.
Mhm.
Chili, salsa.
I'm more of a traditional, like a little bit of sour cream on it. There's just some,
Mhm,
I'll do sour cream over cheese if I had to pick.
yeah. My favorite chili is actually a turkey and chickpea chili. I think that would actually go so good
Yeah.
on here. I think chives is a classic, and that also would be amazing.
And then there's black beans and barbecue sauce.
Mm, black beans, barbecue sauce. Yeah, these are fantastic.
Yeah. Crumble tofu. Somebody's on team tofu there too. Yeah.
Crumbled tofu.
And then there
I
was a
think
question too. Somebody's heard it recommended to have 5 colors on your plate at each meal. And is that something that you would recommend?
yeah, I think that is a great, like, it's rule of thumb, right? So, it's always great to have these strategies just in your arsenal ready to go, um, that you can just think up on and have just prepared, right? I don't think strategies are ever a bad idea until they become a hindrance, um, and not negative, like, not negatively, but if they would become more of a job than of a than a strategy, if that makes sense. So it's all about progress over perfection, right? So if you are trying to include, maybe like two of the main food groups in a meal um, or more, if you don't always make that large number, then you have not failed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're saying it doesn't have to be 5, but if you're striving for a little bit of color, like 2 or 3,
Mhm.
like on your potato, it's just more attractive looking too, and it gets some of those different colors I know have some healthier nutrition value too, of different.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're like noticing that a lot of your foods are looking kind of, similar, like similar colors, brown, yellow, and you just want to include something red in your lunch, like that's a win, and we take it.
Another question here is, what are unhealthy options for your loaded potatoes?
Unhealthy options for the loaded potatoes. Um, that's a great question. So I would say that in the typical American diet we tend to like load up on the saturated fats. Um, and I think we aim to still include those, but also think about what we can add here. And really focus on like, okay, we're adding in some vegetables and we're adding in some protein and some heart healthy fats. And um, I try to like stay away from the term unhealthy because health is very um, based off individual needs. But uh, uh, I will say, the typical loaded potato, very heavy in the bacon and the cheese and the butter, which are just all saturated fats. Whereas we can, you know, not completely take them out, but maybe like hold back a little bit on those and then really focus on including um more vegetables and that add mindset. But yeah, that's a great question.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put my mute on because it looks like we have asked or we've answered all the questions and ready for the next slide.
All right. So gonna go into another great example, building a power bowl. These would be really great also for a dinner with like family or also just for lunches if you're just kind of like preparing some for the week. So to start building our power bowl, you can start with your complex carbohydrate. We got like winter squashes, sweet potatoes, quinoa, rice, corn, purple potatoes. So many cool options. You've got some vegetables. So thinking like steamed, roasted, sauteed vegetables. Could do like some carrots, cauliflower, peppers, onions, some good leafy greens, get that vitamin K, spinach, arugula, Swiss chard. Um, could add in some of those, and then choose your protein. So some different plant-based sources: tofu, beans, tempeh, edamame. Some animal sources, so chicken breast, eggs, fish, shrimp. Um, and then finally, like top it off with a good heart healthy fat to complete this well-rounded meal with like olive oil and citrus, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds. These are um, these are some of my absolute favorites, the chia and flax seeds, because for me at least they don't take away from anything. Like I don't think that they like really interfere with flavor. Um, they can sometimes add an interesting texture if you're looking for that. And I just really love like chia seeds, you can just like sprinkle onto anything. Unless you are going for a really like chia heavy, like a chia pudding. Um, that would definitely have an interesting texture. But for the most part, I just sprinkle some chia seeds and I don't really notice. Uh, Sometimes if you do have a chia seed heavy meal, you also might want to pack some floss. Just saying. But they are a really great thing just to add into your power bowl. Um, so the key for power bowls is to change it up. So mix it up, like changing out the sauces, changing out the veggies, changing different, like choosing different proteins, like just trying different things on this list. And you'll also have access to this handout afterwards as well. Um, just to get like a variety of those nutrients like we talked about before, get a variety of different flavor combinations, and just being able to yeah mix it up and getting those different nutrients in is so important because every single thing on this list has a different nutrient profile, and so being able to try different things is great to have the best chance of covering all your bases. So, does anyone have a favorite combination that they're wanting to try?
Somebody commented that they love a savory oatmeal bowl.
Savory oatmeal. Oh, that sounds great. Like for like a snack, or is that like a dinner?
Waiting to see
I
if there's a
wonder.
response to that one. Not this week.
Yeah,
It can be both.
I'm curious. It can be both. Absolutely. Yeah, savory oatmeal for breakfast too.
So are most power bowls, are they warm? So you're using like ingredients that have been warmed up?
They could be either way. They could be warm, they could be cold, it could be something you, like, put together and then, save overnight for lunch the next day. Yeah.
Okay, I
It
was thinking
really is choose your adventure.
it'd be great for meal prepping. I could see how that
Ab
would be. Yeah.
Absolutely. You could even meal prep, some of the different items of, like, 2 of each list separately, so that you can, like, mix and match a little bit, so you wouldn't be having, like, the same lunch Monday and then as Tuesday.
Yeah. A question here is what should the bowl mostly consist of? About 75% carbs, or what's that balance that you're kind of looking for?
Mhm. I think back to the plate balance, so kind of balance it out with, like, a fourth to a third of that complex carbohydrate, and then really, yeah, heavy on the vegetables. And then a good strategy of the Mediterranean diet, which is one of the best recommended overall, like general diets. A good rule that they do is actually just like a sprinkle of animal protein. So, contrast to how we typically use protein is a little bit more heavy in meals. In the Mediterranean diet, they tend to use protein as more of like a condiment almost. So just like a little bit of meat, but um, but plant-based sources and animal sources, both great protein choices. Um, and then yeah, like topping of the healthy fats.
All right, it looks like we've got all the comments and questions done. So great.
Um,
Now I'm hungry. Thanks, Katie.
you are very welcome. So you're also going to go over some cost saving strategies. So, for instance, you can bulk shop your grains. You can buy grains like rice, oatmeal, pasta, these shelf stable grains in bulk for cost savings, especially if they're on sale. Definitely can buy them in bulk and they will stay in your pantry for a good amount of time. So, that's a really great strategy. And then we can also, after finishing our bulk shopping, do some bulk cooking. So we can batch cook some pasta, batch cook some rice, some oatmeal. We could prep some overnight oats. We talked about meal prepping on your weekends or days off, and then you can enjoy these throughout the entire week. So some examples, and we're gonna send you some recipe examples for how to use these use these starches. Like we talked about the pyre bowls, and you could also do some like pasta salad lunches, some veggie and rice stir fry. Um, you can also we're gonna do a recipe of like spiced chickpeas with brown rice. Um, and would love to know some other like what are some of y'all's favorite pasta or rice or oatmeal meals? 'Cause we also have some, overnight oats recipes on the SD Instagram. Definitely a big fan of overnight oats for sure, and we've got, quite a few different, like, even, like, a good amount of, like, each season recipes on the SD Instagram. Are we seeing anything in the chat for pasta, rice, or
I think
oatmeal
this
recipes?
what I like to do from at my house is I do stir fry. And so we do that quite a bit. And there's a brown rice pasta noodles that you can get at Costco, and those are pretty good. You don't need a lot, but those can really it makes you feel like you're eating a lot more maybe of the starchy, and it's just a way to kind of keep that down. But it's a nice balance of getting different color and the veggies in there and
Yeah, that sounds
good leftover.
wonderful. That sounds really fulfilling.
Yeah. And there is a question here. So I don't know if you have, it's about protein and the fact that protein is
Mm.
becoming really kind of a quote unquote trend now. And do you recommend Mediterranean over the protein trend?
That is a great question. So my answer is it depends. Just like everything, every single individual has very different n- nutrient needs. Yes, I do agree. Adding protein to just about everything has been such a trend lately. And protein does help. with, satiety, like it helps you keep that like full feeling. It helps slow down the rate of um, carbohydrates being digested. So if like you're looking to maintain your blood sugar, having protein with carbohydrates is definitely a great strategy. That being said, I think so for the Mediterranean diet, um, when they said using like less meat specifically as more of a condiment, they do still have like a fair amount of protein, but um, yes, I think that the overall um, intensity of having a very, like, high protein diet is, uh, misleading.
Another question, or no, here's a response. So to your other question that you had, somebody says their lazy meal is black bean with tomato nutritional yeast, with pasta or rice.
Wow. You said black beans with, nutritional yeast, and what was it over rice?
Tomato nutritional yeast, which I've never heard of before,
Okay.
and then
So
pair
yeah.
that with pasta or rice.
Wow. Black beans. I think that sounds like a great combination. Um, yeah, nutritional yeast really is it adds that kind of, like, umami flavor. Um And if anyone's ever tried nutritional yeast over popcorn, I think it's a great it's a great combination. Nutritional yeast is also really great, especially if you are eating vegan, vegetarian. It really helps with B12, making sure that you get your B12 needs, since B12 is mostly found in animal source foods.
And somebody agrees with you. Yes, it's delicious on popcorn. What is nutritional yeast? Is that is it bread based or wheat based? Or I guess when I think of it,
um, it's it's used as a condiment.
is it a
Nutritional
powder?
yeast. Yes, it's kinda like a powder that you can just, like, sprinkle and use in recipes. Um, it's I'm blanking on what it is made out of, so I don't wanna tell you wrong. Um,
Okay.
but
Well, we
it
can move
it
on.
is
I can
great.
Google it. And then I'll teach you at the end if you don't
Sounds
mind.
good.
I think that covers those questions.
Alright, so then a third strategy is gonna be buy local, buy seasonal, um, and, with the upcoming spring produce, summer produce, farmers market season. This is going to be so good. Buying local and seasonal is good for you. It's good for your wallet, and it's also really great for the environment because it's got those. It has less transportation, so it's a lower carbon footprint. It's just great to be like growing things in your environment. Um, it's great for your wallet because of those lower transportation costs, or it's free if you're going yourself. And it's also good for you with that like uh, smaller transportation from farm to table. So, how are we doing on the Q&A?
We've had all the comments and questions have gone to you, so you are good.
Awesome. Um, Well, I do want to talk about next month. We do this budget friendly series every month, and next month is going to be called "Don't Forget the Freezer: Nutrition and Cost Saving Benefits." So we talk about how freezing food can maintain its nutritional value while also offering some cost savings. We can give some tips on how to fill your freezer with some budget friendly options, um, some simple meal planning strategies, and how to reduce waste. It's free to everyone. And if you're not able to attend in person, that's okay. A lot of people just register online so that you can still receive the recording. Um, and yeah, also get those handouts and those recipes.
Yeah, well, I'll check here, see if there's any more questions or comments for you, Katie. Thank you so much for learning or teaching us today. I did look up that nutritional yeast and it says it has a cheesy flavor, so I'm really excited to try it. It's not something
Mhm.
I've ever done before. I couldn't really find, I mean, it says in the ingredients it's inactive nutritional yeast, but it actually has quite a bit of protein in it too. So I'm intrigued to give that a try. I don't see
Yeah.
any other additional questions or comments, which means that you've got a really nice balanced presentation. And then for those of you who are leaving, we really appreciate your joining us today. There are some questions as you're leaving. We just appreciate your taking a few moments to answer them. Always looking for tips on how we can do our presentations better and looking for maybe some ideas of future presentations. So thank you so much, Katie, for joining or for giving the presentation. And thank you to those of you who joined us today.
Yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you to the sponsor, Stilly Valley Health Connections. We hope to see you again at the next budget-friendly class, the online classes, or if you would like to give another one of their classes a try. We've got some like live cooking demos, some in-person classes that are really, really fun. And just would love to see you around.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the let's see, I think there was some meal things, some recipes and things, those should be emailed to you, I would say by tomorrow afternoon. So you can be looking for those in your inboxes. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to stop recording.